right, welcome to Thriving in Abundance Talk, the Woman Thrive series. Of course, it's a Tuesday afternoon. Namhlanje ke ngiphethe indlovukazi lapha, babes wealth creation. Zibu Masotobe, welcome, madam.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again. Igama lami uZodwa Msimang wakaNsibande. Lapha ngiphethe intokazi engagcini njengoba ubabes we-finance ne-babes we-wealth creation. Kodwa futhi isifundiswa. Yazi mangibuka nje lana ngithi she's an author, she's an international speaker, and of course, she's the CEO of Zoluhle Group of Companies. She has had the honor of being recognized as a global influential leader by the association, not just the association in J, but the American Business Schools Association. Wow, this is like a wow. Zibu also holds MBA from the prestigious University of Stellenbosch Business School yakhona. Hey madoda. Kanjalo ne-MPD. Kanti mngokanani? I-UNISA School of Business Leadership. Kodwa futhi manje into engiyithanda kakhulu ukuthi she also did a degree nami engaqala kuyona ye-communication science e-University. All right, and of course, Zibu is a Mandela Washington Fellow as part of President Barack Obama's YALA initiative, also recognized as one of the top 40 women under the age of 40. By Destiny magazine. Hey, lo muntu osenama achievements amaningi kangaka. Yeah, this is amazing. Of course, you've also been a runner-up with Standard Bank Top Women in the Public Sector. Yazi Nkosi yami kumnandi ukubona imbokodo ephumelelayo. Ngiyabingelela ukubingelela ababukeli bethu namhlanje ntambama.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Come online, come online.
You know, I saw something. Uthi mabekubona bafunde kwenze njani? Kodwa nje babe
Ngiyabona nje ngithi ngiyazicelela ukuthi ngicela abantu bayifundise ukuthi mabengibona bascreene. It's not hard. Mawungibona nje uthi
I'll do it on their behalf and like
thank you.
Yes, no siyajabula kakhulu Masotobe. Akusitshele ke though ukuthi lentokazi esi-achieve izinto eziningi kangaka kanti sencane isuka kuphi nendawo?
Oh, ekhaya it's a show. I'm sure everybody knows a show. It's a huge, I'm joking. It's a small town.
Khona indawo isemfanufile noma isemelmoth lapho?
Yeah, it's emelmoth lapho. But at least mawazi emelmoth yakwazi ukudlula esho. It's a small town on a hill. We actually have a fort Nongai and a museum. We are quite a tourist town. It's the only place in KZN where you can go up steps and walk 1.5 meters in the air across the Adlinza forest. So izihlahla, you see them at eye level. So it's a heaven for bird watchers. Yeah, so I come from a show.
Wakhulela khona eshowe?
I was born in it. My mom comes from a mission town, Emelmot. So she grew up in Anglican Mission Town. And then my father was Solund, which is just down the road from Emelmot. And then after they got married, they settled at Showe. So Mkhulele Showe, Mfunde Khona. So if there's anyone watching from Kwazibonele Primary School, and then Bona higher secondary.
Yes.
Then Eshowe High School, yay! So my whole primary education was Eshowe. Then for my tertiary education, Ngayongoye, amazing place to go. It's an amazing place to study in terms of exposure. And I think that's where I grew more. Once in Figete Sharing, high school, I was really just a young woman, ongeko conscious ukuthi how does she impact the world. I was just expecting the world to give me, you know. I had dreams that the world was supposed to deliver. I only found out when I got to university, which that's the wrong outlook, to grow up expecting the world to deliver things to you. Yeah, so ongoing was an education. Yeah.
You know, ake khona into ekuthiwa eyiphuma zishisa. Namhlanje I was looking at a post that you did on Instagram. I will just read lapha ekuqaleni. What if you had the power to answer your own prayers? And then you went on and on and on and on. What inspired you to write that particular post?
I pray a lot. I pray a lot. And when I was younger, I thought prayer took a long time. I really thought, you know, abantu mabecula esontweni kuthiwa you are next in line for a miracle. I used to think like you send a prayer to God, like you send a letter, you know, and then lama letters maningi, so uNkulunkulu is gonna go through them, and then ultimately afike kwelakhi letter, then I respond, you know. But as in Nkula, I realized that's actually a false belief. Prayers are answered almost immediately. It's just that uNkulunkulu is not human, so akaphenduli ngendlela o expecting ngayo. So sometimes uyakhuleka uthi Simakade, I want to see progress and success in my life. The next day, umngani wakho, who is your best friend, amedane afike kwakho akuthuke. And wena esikhundleni sokuthi ubuyele back to your prayer mat uthi, thank you God for the revelation, thank you God for the things that are happening, because they are delivering what I asked for yesterday. Ushintsha umkhuleko wakho manje, Nkosi ngicela ukuthi ungisize unginqobele uZandile lona okade ezongimemeza lana, and then you are now caught up in the distraction of laba abantu abafuna ukusuka kuwe. But in order for your success to happen, the heavens decided ukuthi uZandile must be removed. So uZandile is being activated by prayer to remove herself from you. But instead of accepting and being grateful to God for these removals, you are crying to God, why am I losing abangani bami? Bonke abantu mangishiyile Simakade. That is how one grows. Even an apple, in order for it to grow, the single seed must be planted. Ayikho seed planted in a clump. So I was just reflecting with a lot of people. They sometimes, when you are young, you think, I've been praying for success. uNkulunkulu uzoyenza into empilweni yami. But each time uNkulunkulu moves for you, when you pray against that move, ukhuleke uthi Simakade ngifuna ukubreak ama barriers, ngifuna ukwenza ukusha empilweni nasemndenini wami, and then uNkulunkulu akudale ukuthi ushintshe indlela ohamba ngayo, because phela ukuze kufike success kuwena fanele kushintshe wena. Success is already here emhlabeni. So the fact ukuthi wena awukho successful, it means awukho kule lane ye success. So uNkulunkulu ukuze adeliver success akazi kuyiletha ngebhakede, fanele kushintshe wena ube success. And sometimes people don't understand that. They think prayer is going to God. If ngikhulekela amandla ukuthi ngixolele umakhelwane wami, but i-answer ingabuyi, it means I am deciding not to ukumxolela umakhelwane wami, hayi ukuthi uNkulunkulu akanginikazanga amandla ukuthi ngimxolele. It means ngesikhathi ngihlezi ngithi Nkosi ngipha amandla ukuthi ngimxolele, ngithe mangiqeda ukusukuma lapho ngadecide ukuthi angizimxolele. So that is where that came from. And it's a long conversation, because mangase sikhulume, it's also painful. Mina ngayifunda kabuhlungu in my life. So it's very difficult ukuyichaza kumuntu. The only way that I can explain it is I prayed in 2000 and I think it was 2007. And I was highly successful. I had 2 properties and I was 20 something, you know, God had blessed me very early. Ngangihamba ngama Mercedes compressor, I had children, I was in a very comfortable marriage, you know, and ngangihola kahle, I was respected. But I had the feeling in my spirit yokuthi uNkulunkulu wami, is this it? Senginayo property, nginayo i-German vehicle, ngiyahola kakhulu than my parents ever dreamt. The kids are healthy, I am healthy, uhusband healthy. uNkulunkulu, so sengizoqhuba ngalo line ngize ngithi 65. You know, I don't know. What is more? Like, am I allowed to ask for more? But njengamanje, every Saturday I feel like sleeping. I don't feel like doing anything. I actually thought I was physically tired, but I wasn't physically tired. I was spiritually uninspired. Nothing new was coming out of me. Nothing new was being created in me. So I was feeling, so ngathi, Nkosi, this can't be it. Ngeke ngiphile this day to day until, but there was no problems. Everything was okay.
I know.
I should have been careful of what I asked for. Within 2 months of that prayer, I realized so many revelations happened. One biggest revelation was that my marriage was not stable. But I had never suspected anything about it before. But instead of me saying to God, oh, El Shaddai, thank you so much for this revelation. Release more revelations. Release more knowledge. Release more clarity. I stopped praying for success. Ngaqala manje ngathi Nkosi, ngikhulekela le union ongiphe yona, you know. But because and then in my workplace, I had been praying. I wanted to be a CEO of my own organization. I wanted to release the gift that was inside of me because I wasn't serving anyone. I was just working, but there was no one being served, no one being renewed, no one being empowered by my job. My job was just my job. There was no service in it. But in my workplace, all of a sudden, I had conflict. I'd never understood conflict. I'm a highly accomplished negotiator. I'm very much qualified for the work. And this conflict, instead of me trusting God in that conflict, I expected God. There's a part in the Bible where if your God is real, that's what I wanted my God to do. Because I had conflicts. I was saying, I am the righteous one in this conflict. Show yourself, you know, like if I was Jesus on the cross, alive, you know, but he didn't do that. So when I left that job, I was so disappointed with God. I was like, you let people that are wrong, but then I spent 2 years crying, depressed about how God did not show up for me, about how God did not revenge me. And then I realized in prayer the other time, how was God going to deliver me being a CEO of a successful company, serving people while I was employed? And I should have started with my resignation and then my prayer, because prayer is answered immediately. You know? But I thought, you know, I don't know. I'm so grateful that I'm not God, because as humans, we pray, but when God moves to give us what we are praying for, we cry, we get depression, we get sick, because obviously it grows. Any seed that is growing, it looks like it is dying. There is no, you can take a bean, uyitshale, before isuke right, calm, on your saucer. But when you put it in the sand and you water the sand and it gets warm there and it gets soggy, iyaphika in the center, ibe turned upside down, the bean is dying, but a new thing is being born. So I think that is what my post was about, that sometimes people are going through depression, they are going through something that looks like death, they are going through something where they are alone and it is dark and it is uncomfortable. And sometimes you must consider that you are just going through, you must remember what prayer did you do just before that, because you might be going through the process of renewal, and renewal feels very uncomfortable.
Thank you for indulging me on that post, because I read the post and I was like, oh, there's really more to this. I mean, I read it and I mean, I understood it because, you know, Umuntu is also spiritually inclined. And I was like, no, this is going to help somebody out there. So I have to ask this question. And if you are not following her on IG and FB, I will actually encourage you to do so that you can go and read this post. Uzosizakala namhlanje. Wangena ngubhontshisi waphihlika ke kwaphuma ke uzoluhle.
Waphihlika ke kwaphuma uzoluhle, and waphuma a position where when I left my employment, I was still young. I thought I was grown. And it was very interesting that I was 33 when I changed my life.
Yeah.
And I think it's a powerful age. I always tell everyone that 33 is just a powerful, powerful age. If you are 32, pray. If you are 33, pray. It's a powerful age. I realized that I struggled for a year before that to understand what is my purpose. Like in Gizelin, obviously I didn't come to buy property and cars and have children. That's not it, and it can't be. That can't be my life, because and it had not been fulfilling. And I realized where my purpose was. I realized isn't uncomfortable more than anything. I had always been so upset about why do rich people never ever share with poor people how they got rich. Like abantu mangabe umuntu asakaphumelela hamba ngemoto zo-100 nama-mansion, when you ask them, how did you get rich? But yo, umusa kaNkulunkulu. Oh, the grace of God. Manje mina angina grace. So mina angina musa mina. You know, but what does it take? Because it's not education. You can't say people get rich because of education. That's not it. There are plenty PhDs that are not rich. There are plenty people with no education that are rich. So I wanted to find out and to share. The more I learned and I experienced financial grace on my life, the more I wanted to teach, because there's a lot of things about me that did not deserve the blessings that came with money. I did not respect even le encane benginayo, you know, I didn't respect it. And I always love the parable of talent, because it is the best parable that explains what I was doing, you know. Yes, and I've got teenage children, and for those that don't know the parable of talents, don't want to take your time, but it says that a rich man was going away on a trip. So he took his servants and he said, I'm going away, so I'm going to give each one of you talents. Talent is like money, okay, guys. In those times, like when he's giving you money, it was called it's a talent. So he gave with 3 talents. So maybe imagine that is 30,000. He gave the second one 20,000, so that's 2 talents. And he gave one of them 10,000, which is 1 talent. And after a long time, he came back, and then when he came back, obviously, and they have to report. And Afiko Kala asked, Master, thank you so much. When you left me with 3 talents. I've been able to double it. Now I've got 6 talents. Abuye lona 2. I say, oh, thank you so much, Master. You left me with 2 talents. I was able to multiply them. Here are the 4 talents. Ajabule. Then the last one, I say, oh, Master, you left me with 1 talent, and I did not want to lose it. So ngaithatha and I buried it. And here it is, because I wanted to keep it safe. And I was so interested with the reaction of the master. He did not say, oh, thank you for keeping the talent safe. He cursed that slave. He cursed him. I gave you a talent and you buried it. You did nothing with it. You are cursed. And it made me aware of what so many of us live our lives and we go to university and we invest time kwizinto zasenkonzweni without ever wanting to know what is my talent. Mina yini engifike nayo la emhlabeni, which when I do can bless another person and can multiply talent uNkulunkulu angiphe lona. Awafani kama-talente. You know, people think talent is umuntu oculayo. Until Black Coffee comes along, and Black Coffee can't sing to save his life. But when he plays, when he's in his talent, ispirit sakho gets lifted. You can feel this young man, it's coming from his spirit. Yeah. You know, yeah. We used to think talent is something that is there. I feel Oprah just by teaching. Everything that she learns, she teaches. That's her talent. Khona abantu abane-talent lokukhulisa abantwana. Khona abantu abane-talent of doing hair. There's people with talents. uNkulunkulu usibeka emhlabeni, then he put every one of us is talented like. And if you live according to your talent, and it will multiply. That's another secret. Every single person who used their talents, it multiplied. It is only the person that didn't use it where it doesn't multiply. So I think we should really invest a lot of time trying to figure out, why are you here? So I do go around the game now asking people, uzalweni? Yeah. Like, honestly, why are you here? How is the world? Yes, why are you here? Why do you think you are here? What is the world benefiting from you being here? What is your talent? What is your gift? And how are you giving that gift away? And I think there is not a single billionaire that I know who is not giving of their gifts. Even Beyonce. Uyadansa, uyacula, igift yakhe. uNkulunkulu usiblessa sonke. Blessings don't come because sihamba kahle phambi kaNkulunkulu. The sun doesn't shine on us kuphela. Nabase-prison, they get the sun. The rain doesn't rain on the righteous. It rains on everyone who's living their talents. Laba uNkulunkulu mangabe unetalente elakho ubusisile ngalo. Maybe I will sebenzisi ngendlela right. Yes. But elakho lelo talent mhlawumbe wakunikeza italente lokugqekeza ama-safe so that uzokwazi ukuthi ugqekeze usize usave ama-lives when you are using that talent to break the safes to steal. You are perverting your own talent, but it is your talent. And because it is a principle, a person who uses their talent gets multiplication. Those people that are using their talents, even perverse it, they are getting multiplication. And instead, no, abantu basebenzisa ama-talent abo kambi, and they are getting rich. Yes, it's because it's a principle. God does not withdraw principle. Principle says, find your talent, activate it, multiply it. So, uma ubona umuntu ene-multiplication, talent lakho sekalutholile.
Activate it and multiply. You
multiply.
Say it any better. I've also been on tip lately to say, guys, everyone has a purpose. We all have a purpose, and I keep on saying that you are enough. You know, my other name is Uzanele, and for me, Uzanele means I am enough, and therefore everything that uNkulunkulu angiphathise yona ukuthi ngideliver ikhona, I have the, you know, to do it. You know, I was reading something there where you were saying 82%, I think it is, of South Africans are in financial distress. And I'm like, wow, this is hectic. What do you think is happening there? Or in your research, what have you found is happening?
You know, there is a conversation, you know, because the church is the place of healing. Yeah. So, when a pain ekhona, there are 23 credit active South Africans. More than 20 million of them are over indebted. This means they cannot make their payments every month. In statistics, South Africa, when average South Africans get paid on payday, 72% of their salaries goes to debt. This year, that statistic was revised. For every South Africans, when they get paid on average, 80% of their salaries, by the time umuntu ahola ngomhla ka-25, 80% of what they have worked for is not theirs. It's already going to debt. So, uma ngabe umuntu ephila kanjalo, it means By the time umuntu ethola umholo wakhe, ifika ingena isalary, kudeduct ibond, kudeduct imoto, kudeduct credit card, kudeduct loan, kudeduct any loan, kudeduct imoto. Kusale from 38,000 mhlambi net, kusale 4,200. Fanele athenga ugesi, ahambise ingane esikoleni, athenga ukudla, afake upetrol emotweni. So people are living in debt. So what happens when people live like that? And I'm going to speak from a Christian faith perspective.
All right.
Is that abantu, they are paying the tithe. Because you can't pay unkulunkulu tithe, it's late. You can't pay your tithe from a credit card. You are perverting the rule. Tithe is supposed to be first fruits. So you are supposed to, with the work of your hand, God, that's what God blesses, that's what God multiplies. So every day when we are sebenza ngezandla zakho, but the work of your hand never arrives in your hands. So you can't tithe. In essence, lento yenzayo. uNkulunkulu uyazi ukuthi awunayo imali. Like, you can't lie to God. He knows, God knows awunayo imali. Uthayibela ukuthi usaba ukutshela umfundisi iqiniso lokuthi wena, you no longer own your salary. 80% wesalary yakho vese akusiwona wakho ngokaKhesari. And Christ was very clear. OkukaKhesari makuye kuKhesari. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. When you stop giving Caesar what belongs to Caesar and you are stealing from Caesar because you are perverting the very principle that you are serving. So if each Church of Christ, yonke, because this is a fact, 80% is going towards debt. Abantu batayitha ngani? So umuntu allocates siyatayitha but asibone ama-fruit ale tithe. It's because we are perverting the principle. And we are perverting the principle because sibalekele iqiniso. And iqiniso lithi you are over indebted. And if you are over indebted, you need to solve the problem. Awukwazi ukuphila ngamanga, because the more ihamba wonke lo 80%, awukwazi ukuphila ngalo 20%. So now you try to plug this nge-stokfela. You find that we are playing stokfela. Stokfela, what we do is we pitch in every month and then people borrow and we charge them 30% interest. That is when Christ wangena nenkalvasi ke manje, because when you ushonisa abanye abantu, umashonisa, when you are the one that drowns others. And spirit une-spirit sikamashonisa uyathandaza ngala umashonisa ngalana. You know, so I started Uzoluhle because I realized ukuthi wealth is important. There's a lot of incorrect beliefs that people have about imali. Imali is a tool in the hands of the righteous. That tool can deliver peace, restoration, joy, love. Money is transformative. Imali, you can transform money into a house. You can transform money into a car. You can transform money into medical care. You can transform money into knowledge and education. You can transform money into gifts and love. Money is transformative. It is transformation agent. Now, if as a Christian, even when God blesses in the Bible, the people that he blesses, he gives in abundance to. He isn't to make the change. David was not poor. You know, none of them were poor. So when the church has lost the ability for wealth creation, and the church has become the beggars, and the church has become the borrowers. So when people lie inside the church, basically we are the head and not the tail. But West Bank is saying differently. We are never the borrower. We are always the lender. That is not true. You know, so it means I seek from a place of truth. So Mina, in my ministry, is to really help people understand the wealth creation principle. And ngendlela engithanda ngayo sermons. Jesus has the most beautiful parables when it comes to money. And people would say, so how do you get wealthy? That's always the Zibu, how do you get wealthy? And I say, you know, Christ said something very important at the mountain. What? Ask and you will receive. Yes. Knock and the door shall be open. Seek and you shall find. So then, are you asking? Like, have you been asking? Because then we must fix it because it's a principle, and I've already said principle is not reversible. Principle is principle. So a principle, ask and it shall be given. Okay, if that's the case, okay. So it means prayer I pendulekanga because I've been asking for a Maserati and I kakafiki, you know. And then you know, if I were to pray in church, at the altar, in tongues, God, take the fat from my body, remove it, oh Father, shrink me to size 32. Is that a reasonable request? Abazalwane bangathi nangu umuntu edlala ngoNkulunkulu. Wonke umuntu uyazi uNkulunkulu has given us the knowledge ukuthi senza njani mangabe sifuna uncipha. Knowledge is simple. It says you must eat less and you must move more.
Yes.
So why are you praying to God for what is clearly your responsibility to execute in your life? But people pray for money. People stand at the altar. Let it rain. Njani, God has already clarified for you. We all know what you need to do to get money. Live your purpose. Live your purpose. So, but a challenge is the same with the purpose as it is with the weight. Because it's not that so a challenge but the challenge is that lezi zinkwa lezi namapapa mangiwabona athi nje ngidle, you understand? So ke ngigcina ngiwadla because ayangithenga.
Yeah.
So then it is simple. So I must not ask for the weight to be removed from me. What I am fighting against is not the flesh, is not the weight that's in the flesh. I am fighting at the decision point in my spirit when at a spiritual level, I'm praying for God to help me to choose the salad.
Yeah.
Because God is not in flesh, so He cannot help me with the flesh. God is not physical, guys. Imali physical. So uNkulunkulu makangisize ngenze ama decisions are better when it comes to food. I need to make better decisions at that point. Oh Father, ngisize. Iprayer mayisho njalo uNkulunkulu uzongipha amandla because I'm praying for the fight at the spirit level, not the fight of the fat that's in my body. It's the same with money. So you must pray and say, God, le mali efika kimi lo 1,500 enguthola every month. Ngisize ngenze ngawo lokhu okuzokhulisa. Because njengamanje ngenza ngawo lokhu okuyenza ukuthi hambe. Ngipha amandla at the point of decisions for me to make a better quality decisions when it comes to my money so that my money may grow. Ngilethela ulwazi lokuthi yini okumele ngenze. So you see, when it comes to wealth, the issue with us is what we are asking for. We are not understanding that we are not fighting against what is the physical and the seen. We are fighting against what is spiritual and unseen. And when it is fixed at a spiritual level, it will then appear at a physical level. When I start making better money decisions, I will appear as prosperous because my money will grow. So that is the principle. And that's when I started my company and I said, wealth creation has got principles, it has got rules. So I want to, and those rules are clear, are obvious for everyone. I want to be in a company when a person is tired of being poor, when you are just exhausted having debt, and you are exhausted with being poor, and you are exhausted with not serving God, because you can't serve two masters.
If
you are not,
people need to understand.
You can't serve two masters. Yes, you can't serve two masters. Abazalwane, uthi umuntu uwumzalwane, but umaster wakhe imali. Imali dictates to lo mzalwane. Umzalwane uthi efuna ukuya ku-women's conference, eyokhulisa ispirit sakhe. Imali ithi, hey, Zanele, awuyi wena. Bazohamba laba abanye, wena hlala la. Umzalwane ethi mina ngifisa ukuthi ngihlale emzini onje, ithi imali lalela wena ubelonga lapha kuma-rent, go stay there. Umzalwane egule emzimbeni azizwe ukuthi akekho right, ithi imali kodwa emsebenzini khona uyaya, because mawungayi awuzukungithola, because umuntu akanayo ipower ne-wisdom yokumasterisha imali, kube uyena otshela imali yakhe ukuthi this is what you will do. You will go into the house of the Lord and multiply. So ngaleyo ndlela utshelwa imali ukuthi umuntu wathi i-toxic work environment yami Zibu, mangifika khona ngiba ne-stress ukuthi ngife, but uyaya because kusho umaster wakho. So wena awuphili by faith, wena your steps are not ordered, wena uphila by the need yemali in your life, and ukholelwa emalini, and imali icontroller everything about your life, because you have not gained the wisdom of controlling money so that you can bow to God and use money instead of bowing to money and using God to comfort you in your master. So that is what the business is about.
Let me go to our Facebook page. It's actually quite deep, seriously, Zibu, and I think we need. We still have to come back probably on the Thursday segment now. You're thriving about it. To go deeper, because I mean it's as deep as that, you know. So let me check if we've got any questions. Mabongi says, I love that, activate and multiply. And Mabongi Koza says, hey, we need a healthy relationship with money. That's true. Thanks for the spirit of truth, Zibu. That's Sistebo Khumzizi. And then here, Umaboy says, we as Christians, the latter verses, it's got Deuteronomy 28, of course, and omit the most important preceding verse. Eliti, if you fully obey the Lord your God carefully, follow all his commands I give you today, the Lord your God will set you high above all the nations on earth. And then we said to Lord, we pray, help us to make it's better decision. It's about
the decisions.
It's about making better decisions. Do you think this thing is more lento yelek is more prevalent kuma Africans?
Well, imali sometimes mina ngithi i-journey ye-human mayifika la sonke masifikile emhlabeni sizelwe i-journey yethu is the one la sizoze sifike khona ebunyeni noThixo. Sorry. So which means kahle kahle sila siphuma kuThixo ekumazini singakazalwa besi-spiritual mos besi-spirit because we were not physical. So besisekumazini noThixo sisebunyeni noThixo. Sazalwa enyameni. Uma sikhule enyameni siqhelile noThixo. Sisiyinyama sila sisika i-unity, that union, we hunger, we thirst for the union with God. So ngesikhathi sikule journey, I call it a spiritual path. So okay, I guess vuma ukuthi sonke njengoba sila emhlabeni sine destination eyodwa, destination yethu is unity, union with God, and I guess isileyo destination is eLondon. But we are all coming from different places. So asizohamba ngendlela efanayo, asizohamba ngevehicle efanayo. Umuntu osuke South Africa going to London, they need to first walk to a stop, get a taxi, get into a bus, then get onto a plane, then fly to Heathrow. Kanti umuntu ose Scotland need only get into a bus and drive to London. So sisuka ezindaweni ezihlukene, it's the same. In our journey to union with God, some people will struggle with money. Yabona mina Suzanne, I never had a challenge with money, making money was just natural. Money just came to me. Opportunities for making money were not an issue. I had a challenge with decisions, how to spend my money so that it grows. Some people will never have a problem with money. They will never have a problem with making it grow, but they might have a problem with their body and weight. Baphila impilo yabo bestrugglisha nayo. Abanye bangabi nankinga ne-weight, bangabi nankinga nemali, babe nankinga nabantwana, you know. So we've got a lot of challenges that we go through that seeks to bring us closer to God. That can be a spiritual path. Sihamba ngendlela ehlukile, but siye endaweni eyodwa. But yabona ngesikhathi ukhuleka kuNkulunkulu about better quality decisions regarding food. Ukhuleka, uyeke ukukhulekela ukuthi uNkulunkulu solve umntana wami, solve uthulani baba, uthulana akahlonipha inkosi. And you realize that uNkulunkulu usakasolve inyama into engekho enyameni. You need to make quality decisions when it comes to my children. Ngenze ngimbone mangabe lento emathekayo iseza, so that I may intercede. So for me, when it comes to imali, I don't think ukuthi iyinkinga yabantu abebala kakhulu. I just think the reason it is that way is because masikhula sesizanele, we are taught to be takers.
Yeah.
Singama-taker. You know, umuntu mangithi umuntu ngisho athandazele ukuba i-receiver. Athi Nkosi, I need a house. Father, I need a car. I need a husband. I need children. We take her. You are never going ebukhoneni kaNkulunkulu uthi Nkosi ngi-activate ngiphe abantu imizi, ngisiza abantu bakhulisa abantwana babo babe ngcono, ngisiza abantu bathola abakhwenyana ba-right, ngisiza abantu baphile ngokujabula. When you never pray to give, you are always praying to receive. So I think because of slavery and heritage yethu, we are takers. And yabona i-taker, so uNkulunkulu uzokunika, uzoba i-taker wena uzohlala ulindele ukuthi aboZibu masebebusisiwe beze bazokubusisa, because when you are never praying to bless anyone, my prayers are, God, purify me, clarify my spirit, make me a better human, so that my ego can reduce, so that I may be able to teach without judgment, so that the people that I hate can be less when I speak, because sometimes this thing is kulmayo, they are hurting. It's hurting to know Guti, the reason why you don't sometimes have izinto is because the decision is not really accurate, because sometimes we think everything yenzeka because of things outside of our situation. So you need to pray to be a giver, to pray to give. uNkulunkulu uzokubeka in a position where you can give. But if you are always praying to receive, uNkulunkulu akakwazi uku-elevate to a position where you are giving. So you are never going to have. And that's Matthew 12:13. That is my signature verse. It releases everything in my body. At confirmation, I was taught a verse that broke my heart and separated me with the church. But uNkulunkulu uthi, those who have shall be given more in abundance, and those who do not have, the little that they have will be taken away. And I found myself struggling to honor a God who is that cruel. I found myself unable to even pretend that uNkulunkulu onjalo uright. And the reason why I was like that is because I came from umndeni oswempu, and I knew in my spirit that that verse is correct, because bonke abantu ababezigwili in my area, the rich families were getting richer and the poor families were getting poorer. And I could not honor a God who would do that. And I did not understand that word. But that day I learned the truth of that scripture is the day I understood how fair and how just and how much honor he is deserving. Because I learned that when you have whatever honor you, like if you are listening, whatever you have, God promises to multiply in abundance. The verse says, I will give you more in abundance. But whatever you do not have, the little that you have, I will take away. So njengamanje, whatever you have, uNkulunkulu uthi uzoyimultiply. So what do you have? Do you have a husband? uNkulunkulu uthi angamultiply. But if we tshela ukuthi ay abanye bano husband, mina nje nginento nje emele uhusband, uNkulunkulu uyapromise uthi uzoyithatha. If uthi mina nginabantwana, uNkulunkulu uzoba multiplier. If uthi abanye abazali bazala abantwana aba-right, mina lezi ezami azilaleli nokulalela, uNkulunkulu uthi uzokuphuca. If unemali, uNkulunkulu uthi uzoyandisa in abundance. If ungenayo imali, uNkulunkulu uthi le othi ayikho isephesini, uzoyithatha uzongabi nayo at all. Whatever you recognize and are grateful for in your life, the Bible promises to multiply in abundance. So therefore, this means the little that you have, be grateful for it and recognize it. So sometimes when you go to pray, say, God, for the 735 that is in my check account, I am so grateful.
Yeah.
Multiply it.
Yeah,
God,
sure.
for the husband that I have, I am so grateful. Multiply. You know, so I think for us, it is that verse, and it is our perspective when it comes to finances and wealth.
Yeah. Cash of gratitude is the greatest multiplier. Yes, you know the name of our talk show is Thriving in Abundance. We had this conversation
at the right show.
I know. You've also met President Obama.
Yes, I was very, very fortunate that when I went for the Mandela Washington Fellowship, we went in 2015, and when we met him at a group, his birthday was that evening, that very first day, so they selected a group to go and share at the White House. So that was quite a momentous, yes. So it was quite a momentous experience to be there. Now ngefuna ugcobo le-presidency.
Oh, no, I get okay, all right, okay.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for.
Growing up, what was your dream? What did you want to do? You know, having said all the things that you've already said, but I mean, we all have dreams when we grow up.
I think I grew up, and this is true, too poor to dream.
Really?
I wanted to have children. Yes, you can only dream as far as your eye can see. That is why uNkulunkulu athi as far as the horizon. So you must always pray to go up. Sometimes abantu bathi you must pray to have. Just pray for exposure, because mawukhula useshowe, the only people you see abomama abanabantwana abaganile. So you can only wish and dream for what you know and understand. There's no way I would dream to be a president. I'd never seen a president, you know. So as I grew up, my initial dream was, you know, because that's all I know. But as I grow, and the grace is early exposure. When I remember the first time I traveled out of the country, it was with the AP Bailey Scholarship, and I went to London. I think I was 19 or 20, and I went to London in Scotland, and that was a gift. Like Abbas Albam had never been, my mother had never been on a plane. My father lived and died without ever owning a car. He worked underground in the mine all his life. My mother got a degree when I was already in high school, you know. So exposure was very low, but increasing exposure. So abantu abaningi bazothi, why lona ehlale zenza isicashalala sika Sizanele? Hey, la uSizanela khona ulokhu ehamba uyamsula. That is a blessing. The woman who gave me exposure passed on during level 5. She gave me exposure because her daughter was my friend in high school, because my mother put me in that high school. And then I visited their home, and I saw a mother driving a car. And I was like, yes, Father, this Lord, sorry, God, this one, I want this one. Scratch the other dreams. Gifuna le, you know, this one. Then her father owned a butchery, and her family used to come into the butchery. Kasi, this life, father, yabona kwakusho ukuthi ngilande ingilosi zasezulwini ngithi, guys, please ninganginikeza blessing yasekhaya. Ngicela iblessing yale lineage lena. Yalana. And then I grew up and I went to Joburg and I saw even bigger families. And I was like, oh, Gabriel, angels, this, so even when I went to the White House, with each level of exposure, my dreams changed. But the dream to be presidency solidified when I was in high school. I remember I struggled a lot in high school. We can't talk about it because of time. I was one of the teenagers that attempted suicide. I attempted suicide in grade 11. And the reason why I did that was I was very, very troubled in my spirit. I was worried about the world, about people. Like literally, as that is what was in my mind. I just worried. I remember I used to think, I remember I once told my mom, Bob, in a strike, there was a big strike of teacher strike in that year that lasted more than a month or something. We choked down. And it worried me. And I had said to my mother, why can't the government just reduce the tax rates so that increase, I reduce a percentage of tax? I was thinking that in grade 11. That was my thought, and that was frustrating.
You had a burden.
And I had a burden, and I attempted suicide. And the way in which I survived that suicide showed me that God is with me. That even if I want to distract, I can't choose to self-distract. I'm here for a reason, in a contract. So and the experience, because I was unconscious for 3 days before I regained consciousness at that age, 3 days. Because I attempted suicide, I attempted it on a Friday, and I was going to school. On my way to school, I was drinking the pills. When I arrived at school, I was already seeing double. And my teacher, seeing me sweating and ill, didn't call my mother. Our parents were not the rich parents that would drive there. Sent me to the sick bay. And then I went to sick bay. At the sick bay, I was still drinking these pills. And I lied down and they went into and then I would drift in and out of consciousness as the bell rang. And then at 1 o'clock, they closed the school. They forgot me in the sick bay on Friday afternoon. So no one remembered because nifike ekuseni, so no one has seen me the whole day except for my class teacher who saw me when I came. But it's a long story. But immediately when I didn't arrive home at 2, my mother was a teacher. When I didn't arrive home, I was never a child that was ever late. My mother asked the transport, Zibu. They said, akangenanga yaze emotweni. Sicabanga ukuthi because it's a Friday, she walked with her friends to town. And my mother said, no, she would never do that. That was not true. I would do that. It was something that I would do. Maybe go to the library and send a book. But what, no, my best friend, what, I didn't see her today. And my mom, after she exhausted all of my friends around 4 o'clock, she decided, no, man, this child, wafonela wacinga inamba yaka principal's home because the school is closed. What to the principal, where's my daughter? She did not come home. And the principal said, I mean, she's in grade 11. Maybe she left school and she went somewhere. My mother said, no, she wouldn't. She was so insistent that the principal asked, what class is she in? What's her Mrs. Simpson? Then the principal said, let me call Mrs. Simpson. She called Mrs. Simpson. He called Mrs. Simpson. Mrs. Simpson said, Zibu, was she at school today? Then she said, oh, there was a child earlier today that went to the sick bay, but I'm sure she went home. And the principal said, no, but they're saying she's not home. Then they called the secretary at reception and said, the child that came to take the key from the sick bay, did she leave? By the time they got there, it was with ambulances because I was already unconscious. They had locked the sick bay from the outside. They had then, and it doesn't have a toilet, it doesn't have water. They had then locked the hall, and they had locked the school reception, locked the gates, and left. So I would have stayed there Friday, Saturday, Sunday with already unconscious. But because the God moves for you at your weakest point, I think when I survived that, I had a classmate who was the only person that I told what was my problem, because people thought, were you abused? What is happening? And I told them, and they said, you know, Zibu, your problem is you worry about people. You should not worry. You should care about people, but you should never worry about people. Worrying is a sin. That young man is now a grown man, and he's an Anglican pastor. You know, he grew up to become a pastor, but he ministered to me back in grade 11. He said, you should care about people, but you should never worry. You will never be a president when you worry about people. You will be a good president when you care about people. So that's why I love people, but I don't worry anymore because I know God's got them.
I don't know about caring presidents, but we remain optimistic and we look forward to your presidency.
Yes.
Powerful testimonies, and I'm really hoping that a young person that will come across this conversation and they have burdens. You know, young people these days, because of too much exposure, so they tend to be burdened by a lot of things that are happening around them, and some are more sensitive to than the others in terms of just issues and all of those things, so I'm really hoping that by listening to this story, they'll be encouraged that no, don't worry, but rather care.
Care. If you know, maybe your family is not doing well, you can see that your mother is struggling, your siblings are struggling, because people sometimes are burdened by what they see happening around them.
Absolutely.
Do not worry. Do not worry. God is in control even in that situation.
Always. What would you give? What sort of advice would you give a Zibu in her early 20s? So because there's a lot that you know now that you didn't know back then.
Gosh, I would tell her, listen quickly, Zibu, because you are not you are not your body. You are not your hand. This is your hand. So because you are not your hand, it means the hand belongs to you. So when you are inside this body, okay? So who are you? Quickly pendula mean uban wena, okay? Then you are not your name. You are not Zibu. Zibu is alphabet ZIBU. You are not the alphabet. Who are you? Then I will ask her, Zibu, where are you located inside that body? Are you in your chest? Are you in your hands? So if I cut out both your arms and both your legs, do you shrink? Are you still the same? Are you still at 100%? Great. So it means you're definitely not in your body. So quickly tell me, are you in your head? If you are in your head, you know how to feed your body. You know how to clean your body. You know how to keep your body beautiful. Do you know how to feed yourself? Do you know how to clean yourself? Do you know how to keep your spirit beautiful? You need to quickly learn how to see without your eyes, how to hear without your ears, and how to speak without your mouth. You are going to need those things more than anything to survive. Okay, bye, Benjonja. Bese ngiyahamba.
I hope uzwile uZIPU.
Yes, that's because I really wish. That's what I tell my children. I tell all my children, you are not your body. You are inside you. I've never met you. Until you know who you are, I will never meet you. I will die having never met you as my child, because you do not know who you are. You are not your body. You are inside. When I gave birth to you, you were this big. So now you are this big. When you are 50, you will be different. But the spirit you had when you were this big is the same one I recognize when you are 5. And now you are 19. I recognize your spirit. your body is going to change. If I go blind, you need to understand who you are, because some people are living in their bodies, but their spirits are dead. Yeah. Some people have never, ever met themselves. Some people have never listened to themselves. They've never heard their own voice. You need to be able to close your mouth and hear you. You need to be able to recognize you. And you won't be able to discern spirits until you can identify your own. So it's the most important thing. If there's anything, I am not this body. I am not this. You can listen to me unless you can recognize Spirit Sami. You should not even let the words that I'm speaking enter you, because they may not be pure. The only way you can tell whether you should listen to my words is if you know your spirit. And if your spirit is not well, as I speak to you, Spirit Sako, maybe you don't know how to feed it. Maybe you don't know how to exercise it. Maybe you don't know how to purify and cleanse it. Imagine if our guys were toilet in your body, you would be dead. So imagine if you are not cleansing and renewing your spirit every day. You are cleansing your body every day. You must learn to renew your spirit. Don't use prayer as a place to ask for things. Use prayer as a place to cleanse unezinto ezenzeka that are still stuck inside your spirit. And unless you know the ritual for cleansing, and it is not just sitting there and talking, it is a way to connect with the real you. Let glow. If you meet me 20 years from now, I won't look like this. If you had met me 20 years before, I wouldn't look like this. So you need to learn your spirit. That is the biggest gift you can ever learn. Know how to feed it, know how to grow it. And you will always be inspired, because inspired is actually derived from the word in spirit in Latin. So when you are inspired, you are living from spirit. I am located within him. I move from him. This is my location. We are not talking that you are located in Jesus. We are talking that you are located inside your spirit. You understand your body as a tool. And when you go to negotiate a contract, you move from your place of spirit. And maybe your business is not surviving because every time you are moving from your body. You are not understanding where your spirit is at. And I will be the third. When my body and my spirit are in unison, God becomes a third. And everything I place on that altar manifests. That's the biggest advice.
I kuthi angithi preach again.
Ungayisho lana Cobo ngihlale ngithi ayombe.
Uvume mawutholisa. Kodwa ke asikho lapha. Go to our Facebook page ngiyobheka ke before sivale dadewethu uNomfundo Xaba lapha, who is our top fan, of course. It's awesome stuff. And yes, that's just about it in terms of my comments ethu namhlanje. Siswami ngicela ukukunikeza ithuba just to give us your parting shot kuze sikudedele ubuyelele komkhulu.
Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you for having me. Thank you for this platform and these conversations. And just to tell women that, you know, we get so many encouragements as women. Betty, lean in, Betty, participate, Betty, take up space, Betty, go for it, you know, even in business, in all spaces as women. But it is not possible to take up space, to lean in, to do anything really until you know yourself. And in knowledge of self, you cannot pretend it. You know, it's something that must come, and you need to seek it, because the Bible believes when you seek, it shall be, it shall find, you will find. So if you seek your purpose, you will find your purpose. And when you are within your purpose and you are within what you are here for, everything will feel so much easier to achieve, because you are no longer flowing against the current. now you are flowing with the current towards your purpose. So if you are finding things that are difficult all the time, I didn't write a letter ngathi Sizanele ngicela ungilethe ku-Thrive ngizokhuluma Sizanele uzile because mina ungifice ngiflowa in my direction, and so ngiyi-direction aflowa kuyona. So even when it comes to business, I always tell people I don't sell. I create value, and then I exist in that value. And the people that need that are attracted to it because it is what they need. So whenever you are struggling in your business, it means that you might not be at a place loud because when you are in your place, izinto ziza kuwe. So sometimes as a woman, please don't struggle. You know, it's so bad ukuthi ufifiyele Sizanele uze uthi ungaboni. Umentane kungena umuntu endlini aqhafaza light. How? You know, so you don't have to struggle. Sometimes people, we've normalized struggle, we've normalized the pain, we've romanticized it to a lot of stages, but there is help. If you are really struggling, seek help, and the Bible promises you that whatever you seek, you will find.
Wow.
That's my shot.
Seek, you will find. Shift to the position, and of course always try to create value, because people will buy value. So when you would no, people must see value. It's just one of those where I feel we'll have an opportunity to host a masterclass or a seminar. See, spirituality.
You know.
Ukuze abantu basizakale, ngifisa ukuthi ngikuthathele lithuba to wish you everything of the best kulokho okwenzayo okuphilisa abantu, because this is healing stuff. You know, this is the thing that people need to know and understand. Yonke lento besikhuluma ngayo namhlanje because iyoletha ukuphila esikudingayo, especially thina sizwe esimpisholo, ukuze sithole lokukhululeka okuyikona kona. Wathi ke omunye ngelinye ilanga i-political freedom without economic freedom is futile. So impela siyayidinga le total freedom. So ke nama ngisho ngithi Zibu Masotobe sibiya for president, kodwa ke kumnandi ngoba i-platform yami. Igama lami thank you so much for joining us live on our Facebook page. And of course, if you didn't join us live on Facebook, you will find us on YouTube, Thriving in Abundance, talking to Mrs. Busi Shabalala, who is our executive producer, and the whole team at Ikono Thrive Global. Igenga, a creator, a value. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So much. Zibu, drive safely, my sister. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.